Hello, I'm Chris Rogers. In April 1719, the first edition of Daniel Defoe's famous book Robinson Crusoe was published. The book follows the life of the eponymous character as he endures numerous shipwrecks and other island dangers, and he is often accompanied by a rescued Native American friend. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a game named Friday, named after that companion, that takes a somewhat sardonic view of the events of the book. Friday is a solitaire card game in which the player takes the role of the helpful character from the book, trying to teach Crusoe how to survive the island's many dangers until they can both manage to get him off the deserted island and back to his home. The game explains that this is a bit of a chore for Friday, as his newfound friend gets himself into a lot of trouble as the game goes on, but all of the effort will be worth it when he is finally alone on the island and in peace once again. The character of Crusoe is represented by a deck of fighting cards which you choose how he uses. The initial set of cards you're provided are, to be frank, terrible. The Crusoe of this game is clearly not a practiced adventurer, and he begins with cards that describe him mostly as weak and distracted, but very rarely focused. Luckily for Crusoe, Friday is a deck development game. As you play, you'll be able to overcome challenges that will allow you to improve the cards in your initial deck, eventually having cards in the deck which provide healing, free draws, deck modification, and much larger amounts of fighting points. In order to get these improved cards, Crusoe must take on challenges such as exploring the island, encountering wild animals, and even facing down dreaded cannibals. Each turn you choose between the top two challenge cards. To overcome the challenge you select, you must play cards with a certain total of fighting points. Some cards are free. Additional cards cost life tokens. If you win, of course, you take the card into your deck and will later have access to the resources and special abilities that it provides. The real meat of the game, though, is that you can choose to lose a challenge. If you do, you lose life tokens, but you must also permanently lose some of the cards that you played against the challenge. This means that you can push Crusoe and risk his life to gain new abilities, or sacrifice his health to get rid of some of the worst cards from your deck. You might think this would become boring, as every round of the game goes basically the same. You flip over a challenge, play cards to win or lose, and get the reward or penalty for how you end up doing. But beating a challenge isn't a simple decision. It requires pressing your luck, edging closer to death and defeat to have a chance at grabbing some much needed supplies from the shipwreck. Even losing a fight isn't an easy decision, because you must permanently throw away cards from your deck. Sometimes you'll find yourself risking life and limb even if you lose, simply to hang on to a useful food or books card. And if you don't beat a challenge now, you'll see it again, and the next time it will be harder. This game is quite engaging because of this balance of decisions. There is no path you can take lightly because you never know what's coming up next. And even when Crusoe has become a talented, scrappy survivor, armed to the teeth and ready for danger, the game throws another twist. Each time you go through your deck and reshuffle, Crusoe gets older and feebler, so a heartbreakingly bad aging card is tossed in with the rest of your deck. There is no feeling in the game more frustrating than being on the edge of success, 1 point away from beating down a group of wild cannibals, when Crusoe suddenly becomes hungry or scared or does something very stupid and your entire plan is thrown into disarray. If you're careful about picking your fights, choosing when to push for a win and when to hang back and learn from a failed challenge, you will beef up your Crusoe deck and eventually be able to make it past each phase of the game to the grand finale, when a variety of pirates assault the island and everything becomes a life or death. Because you know what pirates are coming from the very beginning, and thus what their style is, you can try to develop your deck around certain concepts and abilities. This long-term planning is a much needed and well-executed element of the game. Some solitaire games are low-key, time-filling affairs that people only play because they have nothing else to do. Friday, despite its size and simplicity, is an exciting adventure every session. There are moment-to-moment tactical decisions and long-term strategic decisions that make this far more than a way to waste time. The non-stop decisions, variety of strategies, and the well-realized theme put Friday at a rating of 9 out of 10. It's an excellent game that I'll always want to play. If there was a way to play with more players, perhaps somehow co-op, I would definitely give it a 10.